The hollow signal. The ship Astraeus 9 drifted in silence at the edge of known space, halfway between the Perseid expanse and the cold void beyond the galactic rim. Its mission had ended weeks ago, its crew of 8 engineers returning home from mapping a dead cluster until the signal arrived. It wasn't a distress call. It wasn't even language. It was a sound. A single, low tone that pulsed through the ship's long-range scanners every 23 seconds, a heartbeat that didn't belong to any planet, star, or ship in the registry. The tone vibrated the hull just enough to make the metal hum, even when the receivers were off. Captain Reyes called it background radiation. Dr. Anara Voss, the astrophysicist, disagreed. She said it was patterned, layered like a cord, 3 frequencies woven together like breath. Whisper and scream, they tracked it for 6 days, triangulating the source to a derelict vessel drifting among a cloud of frozen debris. Its hull was ancient, a design no one recognized, neither human nor any known species. Its surface looked like bone and steel fused together, curving inward like a rib cage protecting something that should not be touched. The crew named it the Choir because its signal sounded like voices buried inside metal Astraeus 9, locked onto the derelict with magnetic clamps that groaned under the strain. The derelict's hull was dense, heavier than it should have been. When the airlock breached, a gust of ancient atmosphere hissed through, dry, cold, with a faint metallic tang that coated their tongues. Inside, the corridors were smooth and organic as though the ship had been grown instead of built. There were no lights, no signs of crew, only rows of empty hollows in the walls shaped vaguely like pods. Some were open. Some still held things. Shadows in the shape of bodies melted into the metal like fossils halfway alive. Dr. Voss recorded everything. Lieutenant Harker drew his weapon. No one spoke louder than a whisper. The deeper they went, the stronger the sound became. It wasn't just coming from the comms anymore. The ship itself was producing it. The metal walls vibrated faintly like a chest inhaling. At the heart of the derelict lay a chamber the size of a cathedral. Suspended at its center was a sphere of dark glass, cracked in 3 places, glowing faintly with the same pulse as the signal. Around it floated dozens of alien symbols carved into metal shards, orbiting slowly like prayers caught in orbit. When Voss approached the sphere, the sound stopped. Then quietly, the sphere spoke. "Who remembers me?" Her helmet's display flickered with static. Her eyes went wide. She could hear the voice in her bones, not her ears. "It's not a transmission," she whispered. "It's inside the resonance field." The voice spoke again, softer this time, like a dying god. "Return my choir!" And then the floor began to breathe. The hull around them shuddered. The empty pods lining the corridors began to hum in unison. Reyes ordered retreat, but the way back was already sealed. The walls had shifted, melting into new shapes. The air filled with static whispers, hundreds of voices overlapping. Dr. Voss stared at the pod nearest her. "They're not bodies," she murmured. "They're instruments." As she said it, one of the pod's shapes opened its eyes, or what looked like eyes, a web of glowing veins that formed a face out of the metal itself. It screamed, not with sound, but with pressure. The entire corridor flexed inward like a lung contracting. Harker fired. The pulse rounds vanished into the wall. The thing inside the pod began to sing, a shrill, harmonic tone that echoed through every deck of the derelict. The rest of the pods joined in, hundreds, then thousands, building into a massive, dissonant choir that shook Astraeus 9 loose from its clamps. The derelict wasn't a ship, it was a speaker. And the universe was its audience. The crew split. Reyes and Harker tried to restore comms. Voss and 2 engineers went deeper toward the core to shut down the resonance field. As they moved, they realized the ship was rewriting itself. Corridors grew longer, doorways shifted. It was alive, responding to their fear like a scent. They found writing etched into the glowing floor, words forming in real time from condensation. Dr. Voss read them aloud before she could stop herself. "To sing is to remember. To remember is to live." The resonance grew louder until it vibrated in their skulls. One of the engineers began to hum unconsciously, matching the tone. He collapsed seconds later, skin splitting into thin threads of light. His body flattened against the floor, not burned, not vaporized, absorbed. Voss screamed and ran. Behind her, the engineer's outline stayed glowing, his mouth still open in silent song. Reyes's team reached the alien bridge, a massive hollow chamber filled with transparent columns like organ pipes. Through the viewing slit, they could see stars bending, gravity waves distorting the background light. The derelict wasn't drifting. It was moving, slowly turning toward the nearest system. The choir was guiding it, singing to the void. Reyes opened comms to Astraeus 9, but only static answered. Then, in the static, came a whisper of her own voice, delayed by a heartbeat. "You brought us back," the captain froze. "What did you say?" she asked Harker. He shook his head. "I didn't," the static repeated, louder now, her own words playing back with new ones woven in. "You brought us back. We remember the first voice. We remember the silence that followed. We will fill it!" Every screen aboard Astraeus 9 flickered to life, showing the same image, a vast face forming out of star fields, its mouth opening wider than a planet. Voss reached the core again. The sphere of dark glass was no longer cracked. It was whole, glowing brightly. It pulsed in time with her heartbeat. She fell to her knees, whispering, "What are you?" The voice answered, tender and monstrous. "I am the memory between stars. Your kind left me behind when you learned to speak without listening. Now I will sing through you." Voss tried to shatter the sphere with her scanner, but her arms froze mid-motion. The resonance pinned her in place. A tendril of light extended from the sphere, curling around her helmet like a hand, and she vanished into the glow. On the Astraeus 9, alarms wailed. The derelict latched onto the ship's outer hull again, but now it wasn't metal connecting to metal. It was living tissue fusing. The two ships merged, lights syncing heartbeat to heartbeat. Reyes ordered emergency warp, too late. The drive responded with one last burst before the entire vessel folded inward. From the outside, telescopes recorded a faint shimmer, a ripple of light followed by complete silence. Both ships vanished. 74 years later, a mining drone detected a faint harmonic tone near the edge of the same sector. The signal matched nothing in the known spectrum, except human voice frequency, stretched and layered into thousands of overlapping tones. Analysts isolated fragments. Among them were words spoken in human language, soft and rhythmic, as if sung from far away. We remember the silence. We remember the light. We are the choir. When the drone transmitted this data to its command station, it received a response, not from home, but from its own uplink. The drone's camera feed turned inward and showed its own metallic frame shivering in rhythm with the tone. The audio log ends with a single chilling line, spoken in Dr. Voss's voice. "Do not answer. It only needs you to listen. End of the holosignal."